20th of January, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Okay. Welcome back, Lou.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to finish this. So we were in the Rashi, right? Did we finish the Rashi? I think we finished the Rashi.
We did.
Did we summarize it?
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what we said here.
Oh, we didn't summarize it. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Let's summarize.
That'd be great. I'd appreciate that.
This is a fascinating topic to me. It's if you take a look over there in the Gemora and Ksubis, Nun Gimel. It's quite amazing. All the calculations. The first of all, maybe it would be important just to understand where this is all coming from. Where is this all coming from? This Ksubis ben Indichrin. It's based upon a Mishnah in Ksubis that says that it's a Tanai Bezdin, which means that even if it's not provided for explicitly in the Ksuba, it nevertheless applies. That there is a provision of Ksubas ben Indichrin, and the Gemora over there wants to know what's the reason for this. Why is it that we take from a man's estate and we apply these monies to the in this way to the to pay out the ksuba to these children of this wife and accordingly to that wife in the event that she passes away before him. That was also something that I clarified as well, that in the event that the husband passes away before, and so the ksuba is given to the wife, or he divorces her, and the ksuba is given to the wife. So then there's no provision for ksubas ben indichrin. So then the whole provision is in the case where the husband did not pay out the ksuba because the wife predeceased him, and so in that case, there's a ksubas ben indichrin that the male sons of that mother of that wife will inherit. And the Gemara says over there, the reason why we have this provision of ksubas ben indichrin is in order to nurture and encourage the father of the kala. When the chassan and the kala are getting married and the ksuba is written, that the father of the kala will commit a respectable amount in the ksuba on behalf of the kala to bring into the marriage, and they call it in the dunya, which is in English they translate it as a dowry. And this, why they do this, is in order to it's really what comes out from the Gemara is that they want to give this so that that will encourage that's what the father can do, to do what's in his power to help to ensure that his daughter will find a suitable chassan, because she's got a nice nedunya, and so that's a little bit of the background over there. And we said yesterday it goes to the male children. When there's male children, because they're the ones that are the ones that are responsible to come up with the money for their daughters to marry them off. So this is what this is for. Okay. Okay, so so how does it work exactly? How does this ksubas benedictrin work? So Rashi brought the text of the that's written into the ksuba, and basically what it says is that that the husband writes in the ksuba to the wife that the male sons that are born to me, that are they're born to you from me, will inherit in the event that I don't pay out the ksuba to you, but what they will inherit the ksuba of the money of your ksuba after the death of the husband, and they will, and that will be a separate allocation that will be given to them, that they will not have to share with the with their other, with the brothers from the other wife, the sons of the other wife. Okay. So that's the way it works. It works like it works in the event where a husband has more than one wife.
If there isn't more than one wife, then there's any practical significance to this?
Oh, so do they have such a condition in the ksuba? Do they? I would assume that they write it. Do they write it in any case? See, in other words, if the husband only has one wife, so then who's inheriting him when he passes away? If his wife, and he didn't pay out the ksuba in his lifetime because he didn't divorce his wife and she predeceased him, so he didn't ever pay out the ksuba. So what's the whole point that he would pay out this ksuba after his passing away? The paying out of the ksuba is really simply to ensure that that money that was committed by this wife's father stays in the family with her grandchildren and is not shared with other grandchildren. If there's only one set of grandchildren, because there's only one wife, so all of those children are the grandchildren of the father of the wife. So there's no it's not going out of the family.
So there's no significant difference in that case because of this law.
Yeah, they're just they all inherit the father,
right?
Whatever he has. The whole idea of ksuba's benedictrin is if you have two sets of children from two different wives, so then we want to keep the ksuba for these children exclusively for them, and the ksuba for those children exclusively for them, based upon the fact that they would have differing amounts to divide between them, based upon the difference in the amount of the ksuba and the difference of the number of children that there are to pay it out to.
So if that's the case, if we go back to the statement of Rava, where he says, now we have come to the case of the benedictrin. So I'm having trouble understanding what his point is. Is he saying only in the case where there's multiple wives? There wouldn't seem to be relevant to
Well,
the normal case.
Okay, right. In other words, I mean, the Gemora had a difficulty over here. The Gemora had a difficulty to explain the language of the Tosefta.
Right.
Why is it that she's not going to ever sell or lose any part of her ksuba by assigning it to the husband? We know that there are cases where we clarified that there would be no problem in doing so, because both of the chashashes that we had about the wife not having a proper statutory ksuba, or the wife excusing the obligation of the ksuba and creating a loss to the buyer of the ksuba. None of those are present in the case where she assigns it to the husband, and she still she assigned to him the portion which is over and above the 200 or 100, and so she's still left with the 200, 100. Why would the court refuse to require her to assign that amount to the husband and thereby pay off the obligation that she has to him for the injury that she caused him? So because of that problem, the Rava is suggesting that the Tosefta is dealing with this case of ksubas ben indifferent. So what you're pointing out is that it doesn't seem to be that it's such a commonly practiced halacha over here, or that we set up over here. But okay, that's nevertheless, that's Rav is saying that's what this Tosefta is talking about.
But I have a deeper problem than just saying it's not common, because my English says right before Rava, it says that the case where the ksuba is greater than the statutory amount, that's the case where the woman can forfeit some of her ksuba in order to pay the husband for his injury.
Yeah.
And the English says, how then can the Brisa indicate that the woman never loses her ksuba to pay for an injury?
Right.
And then the Gemora answers, Rava said, this is the B'nai Dichron. I don't see how the B'nai Dichron changes anything vis-a-vis the ability of the woman to assign her ksuba to the husband.
Okay, so we have to read the rest of the Gemora over here. The Gemora, when the Gemora explains Hachi Katani, and this is how we read the words of the Brisa. This is what the words of the Brisa are referring to.
Right.
This is what the Tosefta is referring to.
Right, but that's just going to say B'nai Dichron.
Right.
So I don't see how that helps.
What it's doing is it's saying that it's acknowledging, if we say that this safe of this Tosefta, when it says that just like she doesn't just like she doesn't lose out on her ksuba and she doesn't sell her ksuba, what is that referring to? It's not referring to a case. It's not referring to the case of the Gemara mentioned where the ksuba is more than the statutory amount. It's not referring to that, because in that case we would require her to sell it. We would require her to assign it to the husband. So it's referring to the case of Ksuvas Benedikrin. And just like when she sells, and then we explain. So what does it mean that it says just like she's not she doesn't sell it, just like she doesn't lose it? What is that referring to? So we have to go through these the explanation that that Rav is explaining over here. He says, "Hakei Kitani, Kashem Shamocheres, Ksuvasel Acherim, Lo Hepsida." What just like when in other words, it's talking about when she does sell it. She's not going to lose out on the provision of Ksuvas Benedikrin when she sells it to somebody else, a third party, not her husband, because so too she's also not going to lose out on the really, it's not the Ksuvas Benedikrin is going to be is not going to be nullified even when she assigns the ksuva to the husband. So that's the Rav is explaining. That's how we're going to explain the words of this Tosefta. And actually, Tosfos. Well, we'll leave Tosfos out of it for a moment, but by doing this, we're not saying that there is no case that she doesn't sell her ksuba, like the way we were understanding originally the Tosefta to be saying. It wasn't talking about all cases across the board. There's no such thing. She's never allowed to sell or assign her ksuba. That's not so. But that this Tosefta is talking about a specific case of ksubas benedikrin, and what it means when it says she won't lose. It's really referring to the clause of the ksubas benedikrin. That clause won't go by the wayside because of the fact that she sold the ksuba, which we might have thought that it should, because she sold the rights to the ksuba, and that would include not only her right to receive 200 and 100, but also the right of the rights of her children to receive under ksubas benedikrin. The Gemara says no. That's just what the Tosefta is saying, that their rights to receive their portion of the ksuba will not be lost if she would sell her or assign her ksuba to her husband.
I'm still confused. I'm sorry. I'm having difficulty with this. Looking at the a little further up where it discusses this Tosefta, it says, and if she wounded her husband, she does not forfeit her ksuva. That's the reisha. Now, it seems like the question is being asked, how can the reisha say that? And given that we've identified a situation where she can assign the excess value of her ksuva to her husband. And the answer is, look at the seifa. But how can the seifa be used when we have a statement in the reisha that we're discussing?
Okay, so you're asking if we're saying in the Sefer that the Sefer is talking about ksuba's been indifferent. That's what it means, that it won't be the ksubas. There will be no loss on the ksuba. It's referring to the ksuba's been indifferent. That's what the sefer is talking about. So what is the ratio of the Tosefta talking about? That's
Yeah,
what you're asking?
when it says there'll be no loss, what is it talking about? Because we said that the Sefer was actually talking about something different from the Resha. So
Oh,
what's the
interesting. That's a
Resha
good
talking
question.
about?
That's very interesting. That's a very good question. In other, well, one thing we could definitely say that when the Resha says v'kein hishachav labala lo hefsida ksubasa,
Right?
we can definitely say that does not mean that if her ksuba is above the statutory limit, that it can't be sold, because the Gemora concluded that it could be in that case.
Right, but then the question in the English is asked, how can it say that? And it proposes that the answer to that question is given by Rava, but Rava is referring to the Seifa. So I'm asking, how can Rava use the Seifa to resolve an issue that was just raised about the Resha?
Well, okay, so now okay, this is a very good question that you're asking, which requires us to really understand the whole give and take of the Gemora, what we were doing over here. The Gemora
Right.
originally asked its question from the Resha. It never mentioned anything in the Sefer, it just brought the Resha. It said also a woman who causes Kabbalah to the husband, lo hifsidik suvasa. So what did the Gemara said, why should that be? Why should it be that she should never take any loss on her ksuba? And the Gemara said that let her sell the ksuba to the husband, and the amount of the ksuba that will be necessary to pay off the husband will be taken off of the ksuba, and nobody's going to lose anything. So why shouldn't we do that? Then the Gemara said, "Oh no, we can't do that, because Reb Meir says that if a woman sells her ksuba, so she doesn't have any ksuba, so now she's in a so now the husband is not allowed to continue living in such a situation where his wife has no ksuba." So the Gemara said, look, in this situation right here, what's the reasoning of Reb Meir? The whole reasoning of Reb Meir is so it shouldn't be light in his eyes to divorce her. Well, right now it's he's in this situation that he's in. He's going to divorce her because there's a concern that he may divorce her if he has predilections in that direction, because he's also not only got the idea of divorcing her, but he's that way he'll have his demei chavala paid up. So at that point, the Gemara thought that the demei chavala, the value of his injuries equaled that of the ksuba. On that, the Gemara said, the Gemara said, no. we're talking about a case, and so now we're making already a limitation in the case of the Reisha. We're already making a limitation in the case of the Reisha. We say, no, that in that case, where the ksuba is the same as the injury, so then we have no purpose in not requiring her to sell her ksuba to the husband, because in any case, the husband is going to divorce her now. There's a danger that he may do so, because he's gonna get the benefit of having his injury paid off that way, because he'll say, I don't owe you any money on the ksuba. You owe me. You owe me money for my injury. So it's an even Steven. So like that, the Gemara was assuming that there is no deterrent right now that she has her ksuba. There's no deterrent to the husband not divorcing her. So the Gemara said, so therefore, what's the Gemara saying? The Gemara saying that in that case, in that particular case, even though the Reisha of the Tosefta says, Lo hefsidik subasa, it sounds like across the board, we already just came up with a case where the reasoning of Reb Meir is not going to be served by not requiring her to assign the ksuba to the husband. So right here at this point, we already see that there's an exception to the case of the Reisha. And then the Gemara goes on and says, so what then is what's the case of the Tosefta talking about? Oh, it's talking about a case where the ksuba is nafish ksuba. So she has a big ksuba, and so therefore for the porsa that the husband of his injuries, the small amounts in relation to the largeness of the ksuba, lo mafsid tuba. He's not gonna divorce her like that, because he's gonna have to pay 200 on the ksuba, and his injuries are only 4, so he's not gonna want to do that. So we have our deterrent in place right now, and that would be the case that the Brisa is talking about, that we don't require her to sell her ksuba in such a case, because right now the ksuba that she has is performing a purpose, that it's acting as a deterrent to him divorcing her. So then the Gemara said, 1 second, if it's such a big fat ksuba, so let's tell her to sell the excess of the ksuba. Nafisha ksubasa miksuba deraisa, no chemis, nukma ksuba deraisa. V'idach tizavin nahali b'chavle. So if the ksuba is 400 and his injuries are 200, so let her sell 200 of the ksuba to him. She'll be left with a ksuba of 200. That satisfies Reb Meir, and also pays off him for his injury. And in that case, the Gemara asks, we should also have her sell her ksuba. On that, the Gemara answered, Kagon delon nefisha ksubasa. No, you're right. In that case too, the Reisha is not talking about that case either. In fact, in that case as well, we would require her to sell her ksuba. So the Gemara says, so what then is the case of the Reisha exactly talking about? Kagon delon nefisha ksubasa. Iksuba deraisa. It's not more than a statutory amount. And the habichavle arbazuze, and the amount of the damage to the husband that needs to be paid is only 4 zuz. To mishum arba zuze, lo mafsid desrim b'chamisha. And over there, the Gemara, Rashi points out that the 25 that he's going to lose out, Rashi says that's talking about the sloyim. and Rashi says 25 sloim is actually 100 zuz. So the Gemara took a case of a statutory ksuba of an almana, and like that, we're saying that we have a deterrent in place. The husband is not it's not going to be easy for the husband to divorce her under such circumstances, and therefore, since we have our deterrent in place with her holding the ksuba, that's the case that the Reisha of the Tosefta is talking about. But it's not. So we had three cases that the Gemora discussed. Two of the cases the Gemora said the Tosefta is not discussing, because in those cases, in fact, we would require him to sell the ksuba. We would require her to assign the ksuba to the husband. And only the third case was the case that we came up with the ksuba is a statutory amount, and his injuries are minimal in comparison. And in that case, that's the case that the Reisha of the Tosefta is referring to. That we would say, lo hefsida ksubasa.
Didn't we say in the case where they were equal, she lo hefsida ksuvasa?
That was the case that the Gemara said the first case.
Right.
And we said in that case, when the injury is equal to the ksuba, there's even right now that she's holding the ksuba, said the Gemara. Haka, now in this case, that even if we do not require her to sell her ksuba, to assign her ksuba to the husband, megarishla, we're worried that he's going to be megarish, v'gabele b'chavle mina, and thereby get his injury payment taken care of in exchange for the obligation of the ksuba.
Oh, so in that case, we would make her sell it.
Yeah, because there's no even when she's holding the ksuba in that case, then she's got no deterrence.
I see.
Okay, so that was what we did as far as the Reisha, and we were happy at that point. Then after that, the Gemara says, "Oh, 1 second, but there's another part of the Tosefta." And then we brought the Seifa. This is the Seifa of the Tosefta that the Gemara is bringing right now. Odesanya kishem shelo timkor behi taktov. Just like she doesn't sell it when she's still married to the husband. Kak lo tafsid behi taktov. So too she doesn't lose any portion of it. She doesn't take any loss on it, v'hi taktov, as long as she's married to him. So this Gemara, the Gemara said, Rashi explained over here that the Gemara thought at this point that this seifa is more absolute than the language of the Reisha, and it makes it difficult. It makes it difficult to say that there's any exceptions in the case of the wife being required to assign or sell the ksuba. It says that she doesn't do so as long as she's married to him, just like she doesn't. And it says just like she doesn't sell the whole ksuba, she doesn't sell any part of it. So that would seem to be not like what we the way that we concluded based upon what we said in the Reisha. So the Gemara, Rashi explains that the Gemara thought at this point that if this Seifa is talking about the case that we've been talking about up until now, with the with the wife having a ksuba and the husband having an injury. Rashi said, "Sokadaitak hakika amar yishem sheinu yochol limkor ba'oda taktov kak lo tafsid miksuvasa klum bishvil shum chavola benezik shetazik ba'oda taktov." As long as she's married to him, says Rashi, the Gemora sees from the language of this Seifa in the Tosefta that under no circumstances would it be would the Bezdin require that the wife sell any portion of the ksuba for any amount of chavala or nezik that she did to the husband. That's the way the Gemora understands the language of this Seifa of the Tosefta. So according to this, we understand this, the Seifa of the Tosefta like this, it would even come to exclude the two cases that the Gemora previously said would be capable of being regarded as exceptions to the case of the Reisha. That when the Reisha said, "Oh, she doesn't lose her ksuba," except in these two cases that we mentioned, because now the Gemara says, "Oh no, we can't even do that. This Seifa is too absolute. This Seifa does not allow even for those two cases." And so therefore, the Gemara was left with no alternative but to say that the Seifa is talking about Ksubas bin indifferent. But according to that, what the Gemara is saying is that the Reisha was talking about we can therefore leave the way that we explained the Reisha. The Reisha is not talking about a case of Ksuvas bin indifferent. It's talking about a case of the wife's Ksuba and her getting her part of the Ksuba, and it's talking about a case where there is a deterrent in place when she's holding the Ksuba. And that as such we would not require her to sell her ksuba in that instance, albeit that there are two exceptions where we would, but that's not what the Reisha of the Tosefta is talking about.
So the case that the Reisha is talking about that you just described is where the ksuba is worth the statutory amount. In this example, 100, and the injury is very small. In this example, 4.
Right.
Okay, so now we move to the Reisha, to the Seifa, and we say, but the Seifa you can't say that because it's more all encompassing. And what about the case where the ksuba is worth more than the statutory amount? So we're talking about the Seifa. That's what I didn't understand before. And then my English says, how can the Brisa indicate that a woman never loses her ksuba to pay for an injury? It's talking about the Seifa. How can the Seifa of the Brisa indicate that?
Yeah.
And then Rava says, okay, now they got to understand the Seifa is talking about B'nai Dikran.
Right.
Okay. That's much more clear.
Yeah, very good. So
12:28.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Time is up.
Paleo eats tomorrow at 10:30.
Bezrat Hashem.
Amen.
Okay, everybody, have a good day. Stay safe and stay warm.
Alan, we're resuming today?
Hopefully.
Okay, I'll stay
Bye,
tuned.
Roy.
Bye-bye, Roy. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Have a good day, Rabbi.
I don't know if he needs help.
Amen. Bye, Alan.
Okay.